Right here in San Diego, the great Dennis Waitley lives here. He said, failure is like fertilizer. It stinks to be sure, but it makes things grow faster in the future. Oh boy, if all you got today was that. Failure is like fertilizer. It stinks to be sure. I mean, it sounds a little Irish there, Dennis. But it makes things grow faster in the future. It sure does. You know, and I've talked about it in the past that I think the key ingredient for growth is humility. And the root word for the word humility is humus. And humus is what's referred to as a soil, right? So the humus soil is 6 to 9 inches below the surface. That's why a farmer, he or she plows their field, right? If you've ever seen a plow, it's like a blade, and it cuts through the surface of the ground, and then it turns the soil. It turns the soil. And what does it do? It takes the humus soil, that's nutrient rich, and it takes that most fertile soil and it takes it from the bottom and turns it to the top. So when the seeds are planted, the growth is most significant. And it seems like in life, and my faith tradition is sometimes God takes a knife to the heart. Sometimes life takes a knife to the heart, and our life turns upside down. And that hard exterior gets turned upside down. And that's why that humus, that humility is ultimately the greatest growth experiences typically in a person's life are after a major setback or difficulty or a challenge, because that's where the opportunity to grow actually is. So failure stinks, but it is a fertilizer and it helps things to grow faster. So it's just a part of life. David Kelly's a TV writer in Hollywood just up the road, and he goes, failure sucks, but instructs. Pretty good. Tal Ben-Shahar, who's an Israeli-American author, he's done some brilliant work on the subject of happiness, actually, maybe a future guest even on our show. And he said, failure is an inescapable part of life and a critically important part of any successful life. And I just think this is not what people think about today. We're trying to avoid difficulty. We're trying to avoid setbacks. We typically don't want to put ourselves out there. You know, you watch sports and somebody fails and it's heartbreaking and heart-wrenching. There's a chance to bounce back and be better. And you have to be willing, right? The better to have loved and lost than never loved at all. A 2019 study on failure by Northwestern University found that failure is the essential prerequisite for success. The research found that trying again and again only works if you learn from your previous failure. So the idea then is to work smart, not hard. So I did this, I tried this didn't work, but I tried that, I learned from it. So yeah, failure stinks, but it's actually, it's part of that fertilizer. The next thing is, we talk about failure is the school of hard knocks. Albert Einstein said there's only one road to human greatness, through the school of hard knocks. It's experiential knowledge. A lot of times it's experience is getting a lot of what you don't want. Now, again, I know this is like you're tuning in and many of you want to feel better and you want to get away from all the negativity. But the bottom line is we have to have optimism rooted in realism. And the realism is in every book of success, there's chapters of failures. There's setbacks and difficulties along the way. It's just part of the deal.